looking at the chart probably for the rest of the week, and I'm not promising anything good or bad. There are a lot of very tight aspects going on around the chart for me that would indicate some challenging times, and you would know already what that topic is because it would be extremely obvious in your world how that is playing out. So I do have the chart in front of me, and let's just say generally for everyone, not just the air signs. We have a situation that everybody's talking about right now, which is right over here in the chart. That Saturn and Neptune conjunction with Saturn in retrograde and making its way back into Pisces. It is at the 29th degree right now. It's at 29th degree, 55 minutes. That's where Saturn is. And on the other side of that in conjunct is Pluto. I'm going to circle Pallas as well. And Pluto is over here at 1 degree, 45 minutes. Also retrograde. Both of these are retrograde. I look at what's connecting and we can see the green dots that lead all the way over here to Mercury finally entering into Virgo. Right now, today it's at 0 degrees and 6 minutes. And that's Mercury right over there. It is now within range of Virgo. So this is what I would say. I would say that Mercury is on its way to catch up with the sun. And when Mercury and the sun end up joining together in probably another 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have that Cazimi. It's a Cazimi energy. I know some people spell it like that, and that's cool. Whatever floats your boat. When the Cazimi happens, this is a moment of either triumph or the final wrecking ball blow that completely levels the building out. And whatever topic that is that's going on, you're going to know it's in your life right now. Nobody is disputing it. Everybody is going through something. If I tell you which part of the chart it's going through for everyone, I'm going to point to Aries energy right over here. So if you know how to read your astrology chart, or if you're getting an astrology reading with an astrologer this week, I would highly encourage for that astrologer or just your buddies to help you look up where that Aries energy is in your chart, because there's some really large decisions over there that need to be made. And it's receiving, that area of the chart is receiving a lot of pressure right now from Scorpio. And, you know, I don't blame them. Scorpio is, it's crazy when it comes to Scorpio energy. Like when everybody else is flying high and having a great time, Scorpio is just in the dumps. And when everybody is in the dumps, Scorpio is flying high. I'm not ever sure why that is the case. It's just a pattern over the years that I have discovered. And Scorpio right now is holding Lilith, Juno, and Vesta in the later degrees, which kind of means that we're gathering up the entire energy of Scorpio as it has been building around this topic for a long time. You could almost say that if this topic in Aries has spent many years getting hit with a hammer from Thor, and there's been dents and there's been crumbles and there's been cracks. when Saturn goes to kind of stand at the top of that building, you know, we're seeing how much pressure, Aquarius, can be applied to that area. And it's either a go, no-go situation at this point. And so when we crank down on the vise with Scorpio, because Scorpio is sort of saying this should be sitting at 100 pounds per pressure, you know, PSI. Should be pounds per square inch, right? It should be there. And Aquarius is sort of saying, okay, well, I only put 30 PSI in there and it's already making some weird sounds. You know, so Scorpio's like, all right, increase. And so Aquarius is like, I'm not sure you want to do that. You know, I'm not sure you want to, okay. So Saturn increases and we get up to 40 PSI. And now the thing is whistling. It's whistling. Do you understand what I mean? So this Cazimi point is going to be the final where we can see if we can get it up to 100 PSI, which is where it's supposed to be sitting. And if you don't know what PSI is, it's pounds per square inch. It's kind of like how much you would put like air in the tires of your vehicle. If not air in the tires of your vehicle, then it would be like oxygen put in an oxygen tank. Hydrogen put in a hydrogen tank for your balloons, for your parties. And technically the structural outside of whatever that is, the tires, the tanks, it's supposed to hold 100 PSI. It can only hold 30 or 40. Saturn is like, you know, you can wish in one hand and what did I used to say at the very beginning of the channel? If candy and nuts, right? If candy and nuts were something in butts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. I don't know. Somebody will remind me. So I personally think that Aries, this could be individual pressure in a workplace, individual pressure with your health, individual pressure. And it's going to include that Chiron piece too. Chiron has been calling us for a very long time. It is retrograde, so it's kind of like returning to Priapus. And again, I mean, I couldn't be more on point with the energy action that's going on right now, because it's going back. You know, we got to go back and we got to look at it again, because this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The Chiron piece in Aries has been all of us. Since Chiron entered Aries long time ago, we've all been kind of like screaming for our own individuality. We look at those places in our world where we feel controlled, you know. And the other part I wanted to add to this for everyone before I get on to the individual signs here is Jupiter up here is currently squaring Mars in Libra. So that Chiron Aries right there is looking at that Mars piece now at 16, almost 17 degrees in Libra. And this does have to do with our relation to either someone, I'm just going to put some, right? You have one where there, over yonder, you know, my desk at work, or my clothing that I keep trying to drag out forever because they're my favorite shirt. There is something relational here. It could also be with Jupiter and Cancer, something that you'd like to keep private. And with Jupiter there, maybe it's no longer possible to keep it private. Maybe it's time to vocalize and make a sound, because as Saturn keeps cranking down on that valve, you know, I don't know if the structure of this thing is going to hold. And you would know that. Libra would include other people, some people in your world, because this is so individualistic up here, that Chiron and Aries. It really does take an individual reading, an individual astrology reading, to really dig into what that Chiron and Aries means to you. Every person will be different. From, I have tried to wear these shoes my entire life, no one's taking them away from me, and your boss comes in and says, what's up with those shoes, you know? And you're like, they're my shoes, you can't take my shoes. And over the course of like the past 2 years, you might have been in a great fight with your boss over the quality of the shoes that you wear to work. And this might be the breaking point for the boss, right? Because there's a standard that has to be held. So this is the part where I get to tell you that we're looking at the random action here from the other person's perspective and how it may affect you. And everyone, see, this is the unfair part. Let me erase that. Everyone, I wonder if you guys can see the same page. Oh, by the way, I wanted to let you all know that they say it's tomorrow, no, September 2nd here in this article. Space.com and everybody else is talking about this asteroid. It's the size of an airliner and it's speeding towards Earth. However, it's not coming anywhere near Earth. It's going to go in between the Earth and the moon. This article says September 2nd, but when you go to the next page of their article, it says September 3rd. And it does also say it at 10:57 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 14:56 GMT on September 3rd. So you should be able to see that. Oh, I see what they're doing here. Because of the time differences around the world, the virtual telescope project is going to host a free live stream over on YouTube starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And they're going to be tracking the telescopes in Maciano, Italy, which is kind of cool. So if you would like to sit through the entire live stream, which a lot of people do, they enjoy that kind of community. There's a lot of conversation and stuff and excitement that gets built up through the evening. If you're one of those that's like has a graveyard shift job or something and you want to sit through it here in the United States. Otherwise, yeah, the asteroid will be doing a flyby at 10:57 a.m. Eastern Time on the 3rd. So moving along. So let's see. I'm going to put Bob over here and I'm going to put Sally over here, and let's put Jim up here and Sally. And this is sort of how it works. Bob has connections that go out from him, and one of these connections has stress around it like this. Well, that one line here has become so great, and unbeknownst to Jim up here, Jim is connected to Bob, and Sally over here is connected to Jim, and Sally has her own threads and Jim has his own threads. And let's say that Jim has his emergency is up here in this thread right there, and Sally's emergency is over here. This one, this section of her life, you could almost say these are houses, you know. So if we put Bob's ninth house is affecting Jim's second house, is affecting Sally's 12th house down here. but they're all connected even though they can't see one another. And Sally, of course, is looking at Jim, and she's going to yell, Jim, right? Jim is looking at Bob and going, Bob, like this. And Bob is like, Holy Mother of all things holy, I can't make a move until my 9th house unlocks, and I can't unlock my 9th house without, the next person and the next person and the next person. So if you're looking at this from an electrician's perspective, right? And let's say that we're going to test one of the electrical lines, let's say in your television. You could almost even say the internet. We want to see why one room in your house is not getting internet when everybody else's is. This is what it would kind of look like. You would plug in the internet, wouldn't you? And you'd try to send the signal to be able to find out where it's stressed. So if Saturn and Neptune have technically sent out this signal, right, and it's lighting all of our different various areas of our lives up, it's going to highlight by how frantic, worried, stressed we're becoming. And I think that's a really easy way to say it. It is happening with everyone, so please don't think that the world is against you and only against you. Up here, Mercury has just now left Proserpina. Proserpina is still in Leo, and Leo energy talks about our ability. And at this point, there could be something with Proserpina at 28 degrees that has been going on for quite some time. You could call it a performance, but I use the word performance. Please don't take that in a wrong way. We all perform constantly. I have to perform a duty for my animal twice a day. I have to perform and make a big hot mess about giving her her breakfast and her dinner twice a day. However, if the vet comes to me and says, hey, we got to change her diet and we need to slow certain things down, right? Then you would change up the performance. So there's expressions that humans use all the time. We are not robots. And anyone who would say otherwise and try to twist things into they purposefully manipulated me sort of stance, I would beg them to differ, because remember, we're all connected with this Libra energy. We're all going through it at one time. So it's more like we have trusted and tried to keep this structure together, for as long as we've been able to do. And iron takes a long time to rust if the conditions are really good, really good. You'd have to have a change of something, maybe even hidden and unseen. And if Scorpio is bringing that out, then one definitely has become stronger than the other at this point. That Mars is not finished with us yet, okay? If you can see, Mars right now is at 16 degrees, 58 minutes. And it is forming up a square with Jupiter over here at 18 degrees and 10 minutes. So it is getting tighter. It's going to get tighter. And the whole thing, you might hear it as David and Goliath, right? Where David stood out in front of Goliath with the slingshot, put a rock in the slingshot, and that pivotal moment of stretching that bow all the way taut right before the release. We're right there. And once the release flies off into the air, we can anticipate a larger change. That's the way I'm going to put it, a larger change. I'm just going to say, look for the Aries energy, because this Aries energy has been the energy that's been under stress. It's been under stress for all of us. And that's definitely, yeah, that's where it's at for me. So one more point over the next few days, please understand that the moon today is in Capricorn. And as of today, the moon is moving up towards this opposition point to the sun, which we're all anticipating for the solar eclipse. Everybody's making a big fuss about this solar eclipse, and they absolutely should. I will be doing another presentation on the solar eclipse because I want to clock this thing. I want to give it a name. I want to find out who the Lord of the eclipse is. I want to find out the strength of the eclipse. With the double Virgo new moon that everybody's also been talking about, 2-time new moon. Right here, the strength of this solar eclipse and stuff. It only happens once every 184 years. So I may need to go back in history and see what that looked like back then, but definitely would be different rulers and different elements and all sorts of things that I need to consider. So the moon is on its way to that point, and it should be there in just a few days, maybe by the end of the week is what I'm clocking. So the moon is headed that way. But as of right now, today, the moon is in Capricorn, and that can make emotions very dry. Okay, it can suck the ever-living life out of what would nurture you. So if you're hoping for someone to kind of show up, give you a pat on the back, give you some loves and some hugs and so on and so forth, this is probably not the week that that's going to happen. With the moon in Capricorn, and even worse, headed towards Pluto, like, it's going to make some pit stops, right? The moon is moving towards Pluto first. There's the first whammy. And then towards Pallas second. And there's the second whammy. And then the solar eclipse energy. So we're not even there yet. I would actually say towards Friday or Saturday, that first pit stop at Pluto should be happening. And if you guys have ever seen a moon conjunct Pluto energy, especially under these conditions, let's just go for the most realistic expression, which would be, I'm about to implode from the inside out. And that can take many different forms. Many different forms. Go ahead and use your imagination for that one. On the opposite side of that explosion, though, you're going to have maybe even a standoff. You know, it could be cowboys and Indians when the moon reaches Pallas, because each individual person is going to feel like, you know, their situation has a right to be defended. Their stand has a right to be considered. You know, you haven't stood in my shoes and seen how long I have fought this battle up here. You haven't been the one that blah, 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 blah. And we may be starting to catch a lot of that crowing starting today or yesterday, because again, Mercury has just passed Proserpina. And Proserpina is the place where we swap one thing for the other. If there is a communication that is disrespectful or it goes beyond your limits, do what you need to do. It's your Aries energy. You're the one that has to live with it. I'm just saying that if there's a lot of crowing going on in the next couple of weeks about, and it would definitely sound like, well, I've been, you know, it's going to have that connotation. It's going to have that tone to it. I've been waiting, or I've been looking, or I've been working, or I've been, you know, it's going to have that, you know, yeah. And I'll tell you why, because Venus right here is currently opposite Pallas. Venus is opposite Pallas. And, you know, it's not fun. It's not fun. It does affect the fixed signs. And the fixed signs, I'm not saying the fixed signs are a-holes. I'm really not. I'm saying that when you have had a container of some kind that you've been using for so long, You don't want to take a gas tank or a petrol tank that is full of rust and try to fill it with gasoline. And so in the longer perspective of all things, all situations will be getting better. However, I don't think change has ever occurred without a throwdown. And this is going to be one of those throwdowns. As an evolutionary astrologer, I don't think for a minute that these storylines that we've been stuck to while Pluto has been in Capricorn for the past 25 years, these are storylines that needed to have been purged, but life isn't like that. We have attachments with Libra, that square to Libra. So 25 years of certain storylines that we've been attached to. And now you're asking me to let that go? Question mark. You know, the day that Pluto entered into Aquarius for the first time, the day that it happened, the whole world did not put up a stop sign and everybody go, change over. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Little by little by little, we've all been experiencing this Aries, Chiron, where we're like, something's off. I need to explore. I need to look for more research. I need to go find and ask more questions, right? And on the other end of it, it's sort of like, do I have a future with this? Is there somewhere I can go? And the Aries energy has been feeling stuck. It's always Aries. It's always Aries energy that is going to pop off and tell us where we need to shift. However, the attachments that we have that are in the fixed signs, it's not like you just throw a whole lifetime in a trash can and walk off, wipe your hands off, and act like, you know, it meant nothing to you. Because that's a lie. That would be a lie for everybody, anybody. There are attachments that we have to let loose. And those attachments over here in Libra. Now, those hints that we've received over time, sure, you could have used wisdom. Sure, if all things had been perfect, if all things had been 100% ready to go and ready to be released, you would have done so already. I would have done so already. But if there is any kind of stress like this that's going on in your world, then you're human. You're like the rest of us. Okay? This might be the very last thing that you need to release from the Pluto in Capricorn era. And I'm saying that with all sorts of love. With all sorts of love. Because remember, this Pluto in Capricorn thing, Bob might have not released. Jim might have released. But Sally can't release. Not until Jim fully releases from Bob. And that's kind of how it's going right now in our worlds. So if you feel that you're pissing somebody off, don't worry, you probably are. That's all I'm going to say. And this Pluto in Capricorn, it's one last go. Saturn, you know, the ruler of Capricorn, it will once again be in a sextile position to its ruling sign. And I think this is the final blow. So when the Cassimi hits up here, I don't think it's anybody's fault, really. I think it's just time. It's time. So I'm going to go ahead and move on over to the air signs. You guys have a great week, and you'll hear from me again when I'm ready to do the eclipse read. Take care.